All right, so it's been a couple of days traveling for work. It makes it always interesting when you're trying to do some personal projects like these. But there's a lot that got done today. I actually have been keeping a very formal set of notes here. And so that's your spoiler in case you wanted to pause and read it. But getting back into it, it's always tough. So basically, you lose track of everything you've been doing and where you're going. It certainly doesn't help that I'm trying to use generative AI to do most of this work for me just to see what its limitations are. So I had to kind of like dig back in, figure out where I was going. I knew I had an issue launching the game. I was always running into problems. This is like the first major problem with using tools without understanding the underlying thing behind it. When things break, it's much harder to debug. I had a 3D printer that, when at the time, I had to build it myself. So when it broke, I knew generally where the pieces were and how to put them back together. So we're back into the session, and there was a couple of things. First of all, it's just lots of stuff. Now that I was doing some debugging, I can very quickly see that there's a lot of things in potentially the wrong places, because when you're using these tools, it's just generating the most code it can in a single script. And so as you're going across, it's just replicating code across the script. So I probably have to come in here, just map it out, figure out what I need and where I need it, and then get rid of it everywhere else, because that right now is a problem. Also, there was an issue with launching the game that I highlighted earlier. I don't have the error in front of me now, but what ended up happening was we had our, let me put it in 2D, it's more interesting. We had our script and our game board built out, player 1, player 2, but for some reason I was getting an error on the player 2 side of the script on our game board initiation. What I ended up finding out, it was this line here. It was trying to duplicate resources. It was saying that it couldn't be found, but what I figured out is that there was no player script attached to player 2. So when I was trying to assign resources, nothing there existed, so it was a bad time. So that was weird, but we got over that hurdle, which was awesome. And so then the game loaded, and for me, I don't know if this is the right way to do it or not, but I'm a update code, launch the game, see if it works kind of person. And so when I was updating or launching the game and it didn't work, I just kind of kept chugging along last week. Now, though, at least it loads, so when I test, I can do print statements and things similar in my output just to see where we are. So getting it to load was awesome. But then I ran into another issue. So I'm loading all of my card data, which Godot, everything kind of has to be attached to something to work. So I didn't know what to do there. That was an area generative AI was able to help really easily. So in this case, you can just use what they call a singleton. So you write your script, you make a new node, and then because it doesn't have a representative place, you can go into your project settings and auto load. And then from there, it will always be there. And so now all of the cards, or at least all of the text components of the cards load out. The logic's not there, obviously, and there's a lot of other things to do. Also, it's really worth noting, like, try to learn how to code, even if you're going to use some of these tools. So this was failing just repeatedly. And I didn't know why. It seemed like it was fine. And there's also some weird constructs here I don't know if are correct, but this get length feature, that was throwing me an error because the ChatGPT version of the code had get len, which is no longer a supported feature. It's called get length. And so luckily I was able to catch that, and so that was an easy enough fix. But then also it produced some error checking in the elements here. At the time it was 5, but I busted out these columns a little bit more robustly, and so I had to change this to 7 because I was printing out 7, it was looking for 5, and so no card data was being generated. Again, easy enough to figure out, but like it's a really good reminder that we need to continue to learn how to code to use these tools, because otherwise when you run into problems it becomes really, really insurpassable. That's where I am though, back from a conference. I'm going to another one this week. It was awesome, don't get me wrong, getting back in front of people was really cool. It's one of the reasons I love my job, but I'm just going to go ahead and save this all up, and I just want to get everyone caught up. Thank you for joining me on the next devlog. Until next time.